time ever. So we are very lucky. We're going to be talking about building a website. Uh, the class will be split up into 30-minute increments. I will upload it to YouTube. Some of the time you will not see my face, but hopefully you will still hear. So tonight's class is about building a website. When you build a website, you need to understand that there are three very important things we have to take into consideration. First of all, what are the business constraints to having a website? And from managing inventory to shipping the items to making it profitable. Then there's the technical requirements, which have to do with which software you use, which platform you're going to use, and most importantly, will the website be able to fulfill your customers' needs? So as we move along, there's a very important thing when you look at this slide. Pepsi wanted to create a campaign to sell Coke, Pepsi in Israel. So they put up this billboard, and they were looking at the billboard, and they were saying, okay, someone is in the desert, he's thirsty, he drinks Coke, and he starts running. So they sent their top guy to put up these billboards, and after a while, sales didn't only go up, but they went down. Not knowing why, the reasoning, they did some investigations, and they asked the taxi driver, why do you think this billboard is not doing well? So the taxi driver said that you guys don't understand that in Israel we read from right to left. So it's a funny story, but the idea over here is that we think about a different language. Building a website is all about understanding that it's a new language, it's a new medium, and how do you approach it when building a store? You have to affect different emotions, you have to connect to different parts of the human psyche, and you have to convince the customer that this is something that they want to do sight unseen. So very important, what is online customer acquisition? So acquisition could mean, in a typical sense, someone came to your website and bought something, but that's in the general sense. Acquisition is something more powerful than that, and there's the micro and the macro. And when we think about building a website, we have to think about that there's not just the sale we need to get. Every single part of the website is a funnel, and we need to bring them down that funnel and convert them on every single level. So when we convert someone online, right, there's all these different business models we spoke about last time, but there's possibly getting them to buy online, or possibly most people, when they buy electronics, they'll do the research online and then come into store. So how are you facilitating, how is your website helping bring them from the store back to online, or from online back to the store, or getting their email address as the first stage, because the data shows that when you have someone's email address, they're more it's a greater way to be able to get them to convert. So understanding what the purpose of the website is, and from a B2B perspective, you're not going to be selling anything online. You might just need a lot of information, a lot of data to convince your customer that they should do business with you, or feel that you are the leader in the industry that you want to do business with. So understanding what the purpose of the website is and what you're trying to accomplish is key to before you even start building it. So the first thing you need to think about is that love is a big word, but in our case, how do we attract the customer to want to love our product, to want to love our website, so that they should want to interact and not leave? When we think about building websites, there are 7 effective things that websites do, good websites. The first thing is keep what the users have in mind. So what does the user have to accomplish here? If it's signing up for a monthly promotion, or if it's for buying a product, or maybe just finding information. So whatever your user is doing, you need to make sure that you are focused on what the user wants. Then you need to determine what the KPIs are, the key performance indicators. What does success look like? If you had to determine the best case scenario of what your site will do, that is the success, and therefore, what does that translate to online? Um, Very important that when someone comes to the website and you know exactly what you want them to accomplish, you need to make sure that you're going to help them accomplish as quickly and as simply as possible. Simple, stupid. You need to make your website, any question that you think the consumer will have, you need to make sure that the consumer is answered before the question is even asked. Don't make users think. Very important. Make it simple. The more friction that the user has as he goes through the process, the less conversions you're going to have, the less success you're going to have. Be one channel amongst many is a very important thing because your website is not the only way they're going to communicate with you. There are many touch points. If it's a store, if it's a billboard, if it's a banner, if it's whatever it is that you're going to put in front of the consumer, make sure to understand that the website is just one of the many touch points that they're going to have with your business. Um, be one site amongst many means very simply that when you're building a website, don't think that you're reinventing the wheel. You know, there are standards that consumers are expecting, and those standards are, you know, part of being a community of websites that I expect every single website to have. And last but not least, once you build a website, you need to test, you need to track, you need to tweak your website, make the changes, and then do it again because you'll never be able to create the perfect website in the beginning. Because as people start using the website, you start learning. And as you learn, you can reiterate, you can change, you can do whatever you can to make the website better. And if you're not going to test and you're not going to track, then you're going to build your website and that's going to be the end. Like a very famous author, his name is Avinash Kaushik. He wrote a great book on analytics, and he's very well respected in the industry. And he says that if people don't, um, if he was talking about a bounce rate, you know, people coming to the website and then just leaving right away. And what they're saying is, you came, you puked, and you left, meaning that you didn't leave anything. You just bounced away because the site didn't fulfill the needs that you had coming to that website. So you need to think about, you know, first of all, when someone comes to the website, if they're leaving right away, what aren't you offering them that that website is supposed to offer? And we're going to talk a lot more when we get into analytics, exactly what is necessary to think about when you talk about KPIs and bounce rates. So the usability that people are looking for. So first of all, you have to think about what are the business goals that you want to accomplish. Is it a sale? Is it a sign up? Is it, are you trying to get people to download a white paper? Are you trying to get people, whatever that goal is, you need to make sure that you're getting that front and center. You can have many different messages on your website. You can get people to do many different things, but the key business goal needs to be the one that's screaming and everything else needs to be like the choir in the background. Most websites don't think about that, and they fail to give sufficient, contact information on, you go to certain websites, you can find how I can reach customer service, and in certain industries, the customer wants to feel confident, especially in my industry, when we were talking about building a jewelry website, right? So the jewelry website, a lot of times you're going to have that people are not going to feel confident that the company is going to do what they need to do. And therefore, it's very, very important that you offer a contact number front and center. So they should feel confident, okay, there's someone behind this website. So how do you improve your website presence? You need to make sure that people know about it, so advertise. You need to make the website easy to use. You need to you need to encourage trust so that when I come there, they see that it's a trustworthy website, and we're going to talk about how you do that. And you make sure to develop this loyalty. So a lot of companies today have these loyalty programs, which make it easier for the customer to know that they're dealing with a company that's going to be here for in the long run. So why is it important to have best practices when you're building a website? First of all, customers are very selfish, especially online, because they know that it's so difficult for you to attract them to the website. So they have very strong demands. You know, when someone comes to a store, they know possibly that they're not going to go anywhere because there's only one shoe store in this mall, because the competition is one click away. So the customers are very selfish. So they want what they want, and you make sure that you can offer that, or you can afford to offer that. You won't hear about your failures. Sometimes you won't hear about your failures, right? There are very few customers who, um, when they have a bad experience, they will tell their friends, but most probably they won't write about it online. So make sure you minimize those. Uh, your website is your brand. It's the experience online. It's not just the branding you do from a branding perspective, but the user experience becomes the online brand. So if I shop with a store offline, but when I come online and I feel a disconnect and the user experience is not what it is, I will essentially lose faith in that brand. So making sure that when you go online and your user experience is the way it needs to be, that's very important. Also, your site is part of the net, right? Again, anyone can go anywhere, and it's there's a community there. There's social networks. There's a lot of these things that allow the consumer to travel around. And because we're part of the web, why reinvent the wheel? If everybody is putting the navigation on the left-hand side, why put it on the right-hand side? What's the purpose of that? I mean, if consumers are accustomed to going to many websites where the navigation is on the side or on top and the search bar is on the top right, why would you put the search bar on the bottom left or in the top left, where the consumer is not accustomed to going or looking? So make sure to abide by the web rules. I'm saying the unwritten rules of what everybody is doing. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And while you're doing that, make sure to be creative as well. So you don't have to be in your own box, but you make sure not to reinvent the wheel. So why is it important to have best practices online? Um, you have to answer the question, the purpose of the website. Why is this website here, and how can this website help me as a customer? If a customer comes to your website and they're consistently asking themselves, how do I do this? Or where can I find this? And it's not easy to do that, right? So your site needs to answer those questions right away, in the first second, right? Because right away, the customer, if they don't find what they're looking for, or they don't understand why the purpose of this website is here, they're going to leave. Um, Again, when I come to the website, I want to make sure that I can find what I'm looking for. Very important. So if your search bar is not in an easy accessible place, or your taxonomy, which is the way your site is set up with the categories and subcategories, if they're not easy and accessible and they don't have the keywords that I'm looking for, what's going to happen is eventually your consumers will leave, and you're going to waste all that money on the ads that you spent to bring them there. So again, navigation, what happens when I click on a product? Where does that lead me? These are things that are so important as the consumer goes through the process of whatever you want them to do on the website, if it's a sale, or if it's or sign them up, or getting them to add something to their shopping cart, making sure that the navigation is sound and clear. Uh, how do I find things once I get to a page? How do I find things? Are they easy to find? Is it set up in a structure that is susceptible to my browsing uh, customs? So when I get to the product detail page and I'm looking for a sizing, or I'm looking for the ability to add it to my shopping cart, where is that button? And where is it situated, and when I click on it, what happens? Do I know that it was added to the shopping cart? Do I go next? Do I go directly to the shopping cart? Do I have 7 or 8 pages to my shopping cart? Do I keep it to one page? These are all things you need to test, or you need to look at what the great people online are doing, and the best thing is to copy. Uh, Again, very important, which a lot of sites are not doing, is content. Um, can I find the information I'm looking for here? And is the information answering my question? I just had an issue with my computer, my Apple computer. I went to Apple and I typed in the question in their help desk, and right away, boom, I got the answer. I'm using this software right here, this click meeting, and I came to the website, and right away, if on the side of the website, they have this little green button that says need help. I click on it, right away, I can talk to someone. All my answers were answered right away without any delay. So I felt as a consumer, versus using a different product to, to to record this class tonight, I decided I'm going to use this product because I felt that my answers were taken care of in a very efficient manner. So the difference between when you think about building a website versus a physical store, the people that build physical stores really look for things that are image driven to get emotions. So if you walk by a store, you'll see huge billboards or huge pictures that will try to entice the person to come into the website. Um, they really understand one thing, that they have to get the customer out of the store, into the store and out of the store with a sale. When you talk about a website, it has its purpose. It has a specific. You have the ability to create a distinctive um, presence, which translates into a specific action that you want that person to take. So good when you talk about website design, you want to think about creating effective images. You want to think about creating effective features. So in our case, when we built our website, we were thinking about what users need to buy jewelry online. So when you think about that, you think about we had the ability to create your own ring. That was important to our users. We had the ability to create your account, to save the item, to email the item with a beautiful message. So enhancing features that specific to your industry are very important to add. What is attracting the users, keeping and then once you have them, how do you keep them on your website with the ability to search? Because a big KPI, key performance indicator, when you're dealing with building a website, is the ability to keep the users online. How do I create stickiness? Stickiness is, which means that the user will stay on my website for a certain period of time because they're browsing, because I have enough content, I have enough images, I have enough, I have the ability, based on what I've built, to keep my visitors from leaving. And then, very importantly, once you have the visitor searching around, how do you get them down the funnel? How do you make sure that they follow the path you want them to go? Whatever that path is, you need to make sure that the correct links are there to push them down that funnel, to make sure that they move in the direction that you're trying to push them. And importantly, you need to create a consistent message, a consistent, what your organization is and how your organization works as a business, right? So you're always using these messages, the branding messages on top to keep consistency, the colors, making sure the colors are consistent as you move through, so that the consumer doesn't feel like there's a drop off here. You need to make sure to build a trusting relationship. You need to reinforce positive image about your organization. We just said that. And you want to encourage your visitors to return on site. So making sure to let them know, to stay tuned, that next week there's a new line of jewelry coming out. You want to make sure to tell your consumers that uh, there's a new feature that's coming out on our website. So keeping them always in the loop about new things that are happening or new features that are coming to light, so that you're always getting them to come back to your website. So if they don't buy this specific time, so for instance, we had this thing that it would take someone who was buying a diamond ring, it would take them 3 to 4 months to make a decision. So how in those 3 to 4 months do we get the consumer to come back again and again, even though we know that we're not going to get the sale, but we're going to accomplish what we need to from a perspective of having a user get acquainted with our brand, so they should feel confident when they need to eventually buy.